Welcome to the Calm Mom Podcast, the show for ambitious women ready to get off the hot mess express. I know you've got a lot going on. You work so hard, you're raising an incredible family, and sometimes it can be overwhelming. I'm your host, Michelle Grosser. I'm a certified master life coach, attorney, wife, and mom. And years ago, I was right where you are. I was running a busy law practice while raising a family, and I was on the fast track to burnout. I thought I just needed to be more organized or have better routines, but it was learning how to heal and regulate my nervous system that expanded my capacity to gracefully hold more of this big, beautiful life. You too are worthy of an extraordinary life in and beyond motherhood. Learning to be a calm, anchoring presence in your home and at work is going to be your superpower. If you're here to do the inner work that brings a sense of calm amidst the chaos, I'm here to join you on that journey. Each time you press play, your growth continues. So let's get at it. Hey friends, it's Michelle here. You're listening to the Calm Mom Podcast. Thanks for being with us today. We're going to continue our two-part series, part two of our two-part series today on finding your chill. And if you guys haven't listened to part one yet, go ahead and go back, check out the last episode. In that episode, I walk you guys through 3 different body-based tools to help regulate your nervous system when you are feeling activated, anxious, irritable, overwhelmed, all those symptoms of dysregulation. And guys, these tools are great. They're backed by science. They're body-based. I love to teach them. I use them myself. But let's be real. Ultimately, these tools treat the symptom, right? Like if you're feeling anxious, maybe shaking is the medicine, right? Breath is the medicine. Movement is the medicine. And I love this medicine because it is natural and it is good and it is necessary. But here's the thing. I don't do Band-Aids. We don't do Band-Aids here. And if we're experiencing all these symptoms of dysregulation, like on the daily, it begs the question, why, right? Like what's going on in your brain, in your body? What's going on in your lifestyle? What's going on with your relationships? What's going on with your emotions that's causing these symptoms of dysregulation and burnout to begin with, right? And then how can I optimize these things to support a life where I'm not feeling so dysregulated all the time? Ultimately, that's the goal, right? I want to have tools to regulate when I need to use them, but I don't want to be dependent on them to get through the day, right? Because I'm finally at a point where, for the most part, I'm waking up feeling grounded, confident, calm, excited to start the day. And then life happens. Once in a while, something will come up that'll send me into fight or flight, or I feel anxious or irritable or overwhelmed or whatever. And I use my tools. But that's not the norm, right? The norm is baseline stress. The norm is grounded. The norm is peaceful. The norm is energized, right? The norm is regulated. That's the goal. So today what I want to do is I want to dive into why your nervous system might not be calming down, right? Even though you have all the tools, you're trying to move, you're trying to use the breath work, you're trying to do all this different stuff. Why might you still be experiencing all of these symptoms of dysregulation? So let's unpack what might be really going on under the surface. And then more importantly, I want to give you guys some foundational habits for lasting resilience and calm in your body and in your nervous system. So by the end of this episode, I want you guys to understand why some of the things you're doing are probably shooting you in the foot, right? They're not setting you up for success. I want you to have these secrets to long-term nervous system regulation, and I want to help you break free from kind of that feeling of constantly being on edge. And then I want to share a little bit about how the Burnout Recovery Blueprint can make such a big difference. You guys, registration closes tonight at midnight if you're listening to this in real time on January 14th. And inside the Burnout Recovery Blueprint, I walk you through all of this in a very strategic order, right? So you'll learn how to settle your nervous system. And then what we'll do is we'll introduce these habits to really help to support resilience. That's the goal. I want to teach you guys how to increase your capacity to handle life without feeling overwhelmed all the time. Like these are the life skills that most of us needed to learn that we were just never taught. But I'm here to tell you guys it's not too late, right? We can learn these things now. And what's so cool is that once you learn these things inside of the Burnout Recovery Blueprint, you turn around and you can teach these things to your kids, right? Like they need these tools too. They need to learn emotional regulation and how to handle their fears and their anxieties and how they can feel safe in their bodies. And they need to learn how to set boundaries and what to do with anger so it's expressed in a healthy way and how to manage their stress, like all these things. I wanted to teach these things to my kids too. But in order to do that, I had to learn it first, right? So this is your opportunity. If you've been thinking about joining us in the Burnout Recovery Blueprint, here's your sign, right? Save your spot. The link to register is in the show notes. Check it out. Shoot me an email, hello@michellegrosser.com if you have any questions. But man, my friends, I just encourage you, like, commit to investing in yourself and your family in something that will have a generational return. I'm telling you, learning how to regulate your nervous system, learning emotional regulation, learning how to increase resilience, handle, manage stress, life skills that will impact your children and your children's children, generational return. We start next week. We start the week of January 20th. So there is still time to jump in and join us. And I would just so love to have you with us on this journey for this cohort. Okay, let's talk about why your nervous system might be struggling to calm down. I think the reason why so many of us struggle to calm our nervous systems, a lot of it is just societal and the life in which we're kind of plopped in to living, right? I think one of the biggest reasons, especially for us, type A overachievers, get stuff done people, raising my hand here, we tend to have an over-reliance on these top-down strategies. This was me for the longest time. What do I mean by that? Top-down strategies are the tools that rely on your thinking brain. They rely on your prefrontal cortex. And they rely on your prefrontal cortex to manage your body's stress response. So think of things like trying to rationalize your way out of anxiety, right? Using affirmations, trying to just tell yourself to calm down. It's not a big deal. Don't worry about it. They can be helpful. Don't get me wrong, but only to a certain extent, you guys. They don't address what's happening deeper in your body. They don't address your autonomic nervous system. Because when your body is in fight or flight, when you're already feeling irritated and overwhelmed and anxious and angry and all these things, your survival brain is running the show. Your logical brain, that part of you that wants to rationalize everything, offline, you guys. It's literally shut off. And here's the thing about your survival brain that's online when you're in fight or flight. That survival brain, friends, it don't speak a verbal language. It doesn't speak a verbal language. It doesn't understand words. You cannot just tell yourself to calm down. Words are not the language of our body. How does our body communicate? Our body communicates not through words, not through language, but it communicates through movement, breath, sound, touch, all of these different things, right? All these different portals to our nervous system, but not through verbal language. So what does that mean? It means no matter how much you try to think your way to calm, your body's stress response is going to keep running the same program, right? Or maybe you're feeling like super anxious about something, or really sad about something, or really angry about something. I mean, I have clients all the time who come to me and tell me all of these things that they're dealing with in their life, right? And these are things that, rightly so, are making them feel really angry or really sad or really frustrated, really annoyed, right? And I'll say, and they'll come to me and they'll say something, they'll tell me their story and they're like, man, I'm just so sad about it, right? It's awful. This is so unfair, right? I'm just so angry. And I'm like, yeah, for sure. Like that makes a lot of sense that in this situation, you would be sad or angry, right? But I've heard you talking a lot about how sad or angry you are, but have you allowed yourself to actually feel sad or angry, right? What does that mean? Have you actually allowed yourself to cry? Have you like stomped your feet like you were having a temper tantrum? Have you yelled, right? Have you hit anything? Like you're intellectualizing these emotions. You can talk to me about them. You're aware, right, that they're kind of there under the surface. You can even journal about them. You're understanding them. Maybe you're trying to justify where they're coming from, but you're not actually feeling them. And most of us just haven't been taught how to actually complete that stress cycle. Like stress isn't just a state of mind, right? It's not just something it's a full body experience. And when we experience stress, our bodies prepare us to respond, right? We know there's a physiological response to stress. Our heart rate increases, adrenaline pumps through our veins. Every cell in our body is primed for action. But in our modern life, what do? We don't follow these impulses, right? We don't get like angry and then actually feel angry. We get super angry and then we stuff it down because we have so much stuff we have to get done. And then all of a sudden, we're feeling resentful, or we're just frustrated by the smallest things, or we're making a snide comment here or there. We just want to roll our eyes, or, whatever it is, because we're not actually following through on these impulses. We're so sad about something. We're so frustrated or disappointed about something, but we don't make the space to actually feel that, right? Maybe it's something that's going on with our kids. Maybe it's something in our marriage, our health, and we don't cry about it, right? We don't feel that pain. We can talk about it. We can intellectualize it. We can think about it, but we don't allow ourselves to follow the impulse of the emotion. We freeze. We suppress the feelings. We push through. And what happens? That stress energy stays stuck in our bodies. And what does that do? It keeps our nervous systems on high alert. So many of us just aren't addressing the root causes of our nervous system dysregulation, right? We don't have clear boundaries. We don't have good coping mechanisms for stress. We're missing key components: movement, stillness, play. It's what I want to talk about in a second. Foundational elements. And this is what we dive really deep into inside of the Burnout Recovery Blueprint, you guys. These aren't just nice to have things. They are essential for creating a life that feels peaceful and calm and grounded and present, right? Creating a regulated, resilient nervous system. So let's talk about those big three I just mentioned. I think those are the three foundational habits for a regulated nervous system. Is there more to this? Yes, and absolutely. If you can really focus on these three, is it going to make a big difference for you? Yes, absolutely. Okay, let's go through these three foundational pillars. And these are the three: movement, stillness, and my favorite, play. And now what I want to do is I want to tell you guys why each of these is so important. I want to go through a little bit of the science behind how this works, why this works. I want to give you a really practical way to implement this tool. And then I want to tell you why you should care. Because we all have so much stuff that's vying for our time and energy and attention. And I want to tell you why you should care about each of these three things so you can put it into practice. Okay, let's start with movement. You guys, when you're being chased by a lion, what do? You run, right? Your body does not know the difference between being chased by a lion and the stress of having, a full day of seeing clients and meetings, but your kid's homesick with a fever. Stress is stress, right? I can't tell you that enough. Stress is stress. Your body doesn't do a good job of differentiating actual life-threatening stress and this perceived threat, right? Stress is stress, and moving is the single most efficient strategy for completing the stress cycle. Why it's important. When your body enters fight or flight, you guys, it prepares for action. We just talked about this. Your muscles tighten, your heart rate increases, right? Energy floods your system. Your body releases stress hormones, so cortisol and adrenaline. All of these physiological responses are designed for survival, right? To fight or flee from a threat. In modern life, our threats look really different than they did thousands of years ago, right? The threats, and I say that in air quotes, the threats we face: work stress, finances, health, parenting, marriage, our own friendships and relationships, emails, right? Crying kids, sick kids, kids who don't sleep through the night. Our modern day threats don't require the same level of physical action. We don't have to actually run or fight these threats, right? But without completing that stress cycle, without discharging this pent up, built up energy, our body stays on high alert. And then over time, that leads to chronic tension, chronic anxiety, and burnout. Here's the science behind movement. Movement helps to signal to our brain that the threat has passed, right? Our brain, stress is stress, so our body's like, threat, fight, flight, right? If we just sit there, the alarm gets louder, you guys. Our brain is like, you're not doing anything. This is really bad, right? That line is getting closer and closer and closer. I can smell it. But if we move, if we work out, if we lift weights, if we stretch, if we walk around the block, you guys, our body is getting the signal and sending it to our brain. Oh, we're moving. We're doing something about this. We're evading the threat, right? We're responding to the alarm system that's going on in our brain. It signals to our brain that we're now safe. We've evaded the threat. The danger has passed, and it allows our body to what? Complete the stress cycle, return to our baseline, that parasympathetic rest and digest regulated state. And the research supports this, you guys. The research in somatics, the research in trauma recovery shows that physical movement plays a critical role in helping us to release our stored stress and regulating our nervous system. So what does this look like? I talk about it all the time. So many easy ways. Again, I'm not trying to give you guys, 2-hour routines. Incorporate these things into your lifestyle. That's the goal. You're feeling anxious, nervous. Here, let me backtrack for a second. We experience stress every single day. True or false, right? We experience stressors every single day. We should manage those stressors and have opportunities in every single day to release those stressors, right? We're in and out beings. Everything that we consume has to be released, right? The things that we eat comes out. The things that we drink comes out. The air that we breathe, right? It comes in, it comes out. The same has to be true for stress. So if we are quote unquote consuming stress, experiencing stress every single day, there's a physiological response in our body. We have to be intentional about creating space to discharge that stress every single day too. So movement. If you have a workout, movement, exercise routine already, amazing. Good on you. And I know that you are experiencing the benefits of that movement, and that's why you prioritize it, right? Keep it up. If you don't overthink this, you guys. Every morning, every afternoon, every mealtime, right? Can you shake it off? Can you spend 2 or 3 minutes just shaking your body, shaking your arms, shaking your legs, right? Wiggling around, shaking off the stress like water from a wet dog. Walk. Can you walk? Can you go for a short walk? Focusing on the rhythm of your steps. It's so good. It provides that bilateral stimulation we talked about in the last episode, which helps regulate your brain. Not to mention, right, that our body needs sunlight and fresh air. The movement outside is so good. And again, it doesn't have to be this big, complicated thing. On your lunch break, right, can you make it a 45-minute lunch break and go for a 15-minute walk, right? Can you put your coffee in a to-go mug and go drink it outside while you walk around the block? Can you go for a walk with your family after dinner? 10, 15 minutes, guys, makes a big difference. And one of the best ways I think to move your body on the daily is, guys, just put on your favorite song, favorite soundtrack, favorite album, and dance. Kitchen dancing, bedroom dancing, bathroom dancing, front porch dancing. I don't care where you do it, in your car. Moving your body to music in this playful, unstructured way is so flipping good for regulating your nervous system and releasing and discharging stress. Okay? Why should you care? If you are anything like me, high achieving, juggling all the flipping things, right? Work, family, endless to do stuff. Movement is the quickest and most effective way to reclaim your calm, reclaim your sense of being grounded, reclaim the ability to be present with the people and things you care about. It's not about this like CrossFit routine. It's not about hitting the gym. It's about using intentional movement, shaking, walking, dancing every single day to have good hygiene in discharging and releasing the stress that you're consuming and experiencing, right? Clearing that stress backlog that's weighing you down. So that's the first foundational habit, movement. The second foundational habit is stillness. Stillness is vital. And we are so stinking uncomfortable with stillness as a people, right? We are like so good at being busy. We're so good at getting stuff done. But you want me to just sit and do nothing for 10 minutes? Like, you might as well torture me, right? But it's essential, because that's where our nervous system shifts from activation into a state of restoration and healing. And until and unless we are being intentional about creating these moments of rest, our body stays in that kind of, well, maybe low grade, maybe high grade stress response. And that contributes to exhaustion and brain fog and, even health issues, right? Inflammation, poor digestion. Here's what happens with stillness. Here's the science behind it. Stillness. And when I think of stillness, the way I think about it is not necessarily sitting there and doing nothing. I think about stillness as really limiting the input, right? The stimulation input, the information input, the sounds input, the requests input, limiting those things, right? Dimming the lights, turning off the TV and the music and all the sounds, right? Not like consuming information in that moment. Stillness activates our vagus nerve. That plays a key role in our parasympathetic nervous system. So things like breathing, body scans, progressive muscle relaxation, all of that helps increase our vagal tone, which helps regulate our heart rate and our blood pressure and our emotional state. It supports neuroplasticity, right? Our brain's ability to rewire itself and heal. All of that happens in moments of stillness. So what can that look like? Well, if you have a meditation practice, again, awesome. Good on you. Way to go. Keep it up. You're doing it because you probably know and experience the benefits. What are other ways to get started on this? When you go on your daily walk, because you're going to incorporate movement every day, right? Leave your phone at home. Leave your earbuds at home. Can you take a walk just observing nature and what's going on around you and allowing yourself to just think and daydream and think without constantly learning or being stimulated or listening to something or, being pulled to check your phone or, what have you, right? That's a great start. Feet up the wall. Guys, this is so easy and it's so good for you. Can you lie on your back with your legs up against a wall, especially before bed? If you can incorporate this as part of a wind down routine at the end of the day, do it with your kids. I'm telling you, 5 minutes, just breathing like that with your legs up the wall. So good for your body. So good for your nervous system. Incorporating body scans, right? Maybe you do it with each meal, before each meal as a habit stack, or maybe you have an alarm that goes on at your desk, at your computer, mid-morning, mid-afternoon, and you just take a minute and you kind of just close your eyes for a second and bring awareness to your body, starting from, going from head to toe and just noticing where you're holding tension and allow yourself to soften and release. Beautiful stillness practice. And just taking pauses, right? Can you take 1 minute when you get in the car to drive home from work before you start the engine and have the radio going or listening to your podcast or whatever? Can you take 60 seconds and just sit there? Close your eyes. Notice your breath, right? Tiny little pauses like this as part of your lifestyle signal safety to your nervous system. Y'all, why should you care? It works, right? Stillness isn't laziness. It's actually great strategy. So if you are like me, right? A lot of expectations, high performing, constantly on the go, managing a bajillion different things, the way to restore your energy, the way to increase your focus, the way to show up more powerfully for the people and things that matter is by intentionally building in these moments of stillness. And then the third foundational habit I want to talk to you guys about is play. And this is my favorite because I think we've become just so disconnected from play as a people. Play, I think our initial instinct is to be like, well, I don't have time for that, right? Play seems frivolous. But it's not. I'm here to tell you that the science and the research supports play is a powerful antidote to stress, right? When we engage in playful activities, it is one of the strongest signals to our brain that we're safe. We don't play when we're being chased by a lion or a tiger or a bear, right? Our body understands that. So when we play, it signals safety to our brain, which is critical for our nervous system to be able to regulate. Play also does so many other things, guys. It fosters creativity. And I'm not just talking like art, which is also beautiful. I'm talking about creativity. How do you respond to your kids when they're fighting with each other, right? How do you approach things in your business? How do you, meal plan? All of those things require creativity, right? It strengthens relationships, social connection, right? It improves our ability to think on the spot and pivot and adapt to changes. All of these things are fostered in an environment of play. And what it does with our nervous system is that it activates our social engagement nervous system. And that helps us to create a sense of connection and safety, right? We all have those people that we're around. When we're around them, we just feel like the exhale. Okay, this is good. I'm safe. I can just be myself around these people. They make me feel so good, right? They just like bring so much life to me. We've also experienced the opposite probably. But when we're with those people where our social engagement system is activated and we have that sense of connection and safety, holy moly, we feel so good because there's a release of those feel-good neurochemicals, right? There's a release of dopamine. There's a release of oxytocin. There's a release of endorphins. And that helps to counteract a lot of our stress hormones, particularly the cortisol and adrenaline. How do we implement this? That's the biggest question I get when it comes to this. People are like, yeah, but what do you mean? How do I play? Right? Do stuff you like to do. It's simple. Do stuff you like to do. Watch a funny movie, right? Watch a comedian on Netflix, right? Laugh with your kids, play with your pets, right? Be silly, immerse yourself in their world, right? Go play fetch, go play hide and seek. I talk about it a lot, but like right before we moved, when we were still in Miami, I just started going outside and shooting free throws. I grew up loving to play basketball, right? I loved it. It was a huge part of my childhood. I would just all night long when my parents had to like tell me to come in because I was out there, my hoop was right under the street light and I was just shooting that basketball for hours, right? And it brought me so much joy. There's just something about like the sound of it, dribbling, right? Going from spot to spot, trying different shots. I'd try my jump shot here, shoot some free throws, do some layups. The sound of the ball hitting the backboard or going through the net. Like there was just something about it that when I brought it back at 38 years old, it just did something to my soul. And you all have something like that, right? Maybe you love to bake or you love to skateboard or you love to like do cross stitch or play the piano or whatever it is. Get back to that because it's good for your spirit and it's good for your soul and it's good for your nervous system, right? Anything creative, coloring, get an adult coloring book, right? Start doodling or painting or baking. We have been so conditioned, my friends, to equate productivity with our worthiness that we've completely lost sense of what productivity even means or looks like, right? And what happens with that is that play becomes hard to justify. But I just want to tell you guys, play is not a luxury. Like you deserve play. You're worthy of play. You're worthy of passion and excitement and fun and competition. And like it's a necessity for rewiring your nervous system. It's a necessity to experience the ease and the joy and the connection you're seeking. So give it a shot, right? Can you do something fun this weekend? Can you like plan for it now, right? Order something that's $10 off Amazon that you love to do. Make some space, right? Start an indoor garden. Like I don't care what it is, but it has to be something that you're doing for yourself because you enjoy it. Not another obligation, not because someone else wants you to do it, not because it'd be good for your kids. That might all be like a byproduct of it, but I want you to do something that you actually love to do. Okay, so those are my big three. Those are 3 foundational habits. The more you can incorporate those in your day-to-day life, you guys, as a lifestyle, the more that you're going to see your nervous system start to regulate on a whole. Now, those are my big three foundational habits, easy to incorporate in the day-to-day. There's so much more wrapped up in nervous system resilience, in nervous system health, right? Like we talked about it just now, what's your relationship with productivity, right? What does that look like? Have you thought about that lately? How is that driving dysregulation and burnout? What's your belief around, what are your beliefs around success, rest, worthiness, right? How do you cope with stress? A lot of people cope with stress by being busy all the time. A lot of people cope with stress by, waiting until happy hour to have a glass of wine or having that extra glass of wine to take the edge off. A lot of people cope with stress by worrying or over planning or escaping in social media or books or hypervigilance, right? So many different coping strategies for stress. And they might not be serving you well, right? What kind of boundaries do you set for yourself? And I'm not just talking about boundaries I don't hang out with that person anymore, or I don't eat this kind of food. Awesome, great, cool if it serves you. But what kind of boundaries do you have around your own bandwidth? What kind of boundaries do you have around where you place your attention? What kind of boundaries do you have around your behaviors, right? What kind of boundaries do you have around your inner child and your self-talk and your self-worth and your self-love, self-care? What kind of boundaries do you have around it? Guys, this is the meat and potatoes of the Burnout Recovery Blueprint. So before we wrap up, I just want to take a few moments, if you'll indulge me, and walk you through kind of week by week inside of the Burnout Recovery Blueprint. It's 12 weeks together. So it's 3 months. In 3 months, your life could look so different. Your mornings could look so different. Your mental and emotional and physical and spiritual health could look so different. And each week we layer in new tools, new practices, new insights. There's workbooks, there's worksheets, there's tracking sheets, there's all the things. There's community, there's support. I have experts coming in. All of this stuff, so you're not just learning, you guys. I want to take you out of your learning brain, and I want you to actually implement this stuff. I want you to embody this change. All right, so let me just go through. I'm going to bring up my little program spreadsheet here. Okay, so I've broken it down into 3 phases. So phase 1 of the Burnout Recovery Blueprint is all about unlocking the stress cycle. That's the first thing you have to learn, how to get out of this stress loop that you're in, okay? With these body-based tools. So in week 1, first of all, you're going to get access to a personalized app on your phone. In that app, you're going to be tied to me as your trainer, your nervous system trainer. And in that app, you're going to track the state of your nervous system every single day. So you're going to track it subjectively. You're going to report how you're feeling in different categories. And then you're also going to track it objectively. You're going to measure your heart rate's variability with your phone's camera. And then the app's algorithm will propose nervous system balancing exercises, body-based exercises that take 2 to 3 minutes that will help you shift the state of your nervous system. So everyone gets access to that app with a code to link to me as part of the registration in the Burnout Recovery Blueprint. So you're going to get access to that. And then in week 1, we're really going to set you up for success. So we're going to talk about expecting resistance to change, right? We're going to make sure that you're all set to go. And then in week 2, we're going to start step 1 with the mind-body connection. So this is where you guys are going to learn on your own time in pre-recorded trainings that you can watch anytime, anywhere, and you can listen to them. So you can listen during, in the car pickup line, you can listen on your commute, you can listen while you're folding laundry or getting ready in the morning, and learning how to close the stress cycle. So inside these modules, I'm so excited because this is where we're going to have our somatic playlist library. I am recording so many different short videos, meditations to help you guys access the gateways of your body to complete the stress cycle. So think of somatic practices for breath, sound, movement, touch, right? 5, 10, 15-minute practices. So you can go in if you're feeling overwhelmed or angry or stressed or sad or frozen and just hit play on whatever you need in that moment. And it's there and available for you. I'm so excited about this. In week 2, I'm hosting an Eliminating Overwhelm workshop. This is going to be amazing. I'm so excited about it. We're going to talk about my weekly planning system that I've been using forever. I do this on Sundays. It takes me like half hour, 40 minutes. I want to teach it to you. I want to give you the workbook that I use, that I've created for you guys. And we're going to go through it in real time, and you can plan out your week, and then you can use this going forward. So we're going to identify all of your energy leaks, and then we're going to come up with an action plan to eliminate overwhelm in your week. This alone is worth the price of admission, you guys. It's going to be awesome. And then in week 3, I have, in our live call, we're going to do a guided body scan and somatic release. So I'm going to walk you through a complete release. You're going to release so much tension, so much stress. You're going to come out of this thing feeling so energized, so relaxed. And then the recording for all these live calls are going to go up in our little back-end database. So you guys will be able to go back and do this release anytime you want. You can do it in the evenings before you go to bed. You can make it part of, like a Saturday routine where you do this with your kids. But this is going to be such a powerful thing for you to have in your back pocket when you need it to release stress and tension from your body and create space. And then in week 4, I'm super excited. We have a guest expert coming on, Anna Ray. She's an expert in fascia. So she's going to teach us about how our body stores stress in our connective tissues. And then she's going to actually walk us through exercises and things we can do to release stress from our body's fascia. So this is going to be amazing. I'm so fascinated with this, and I'm so excited for her to teach us. She's taught so many amazing people. She's taught celebrities. She knows what she's talking about, and I can't wait to learn from her also. And then we go into phase 2, right? Month 2, phase 2. This is all about increasing your capacity. So you've learned how to regulate your nervous system with these tools. You've learned how to close the stress cycle. You've released so much stress at this point. You're feeling different. Your energy's coming back. You're not as irritable. You're feeling more peace. You're sleeping better. You have tools. Now, how do we increase your capacity? How do we make space so you can handle more of life without getting back to that place of overwhelm and burnout? So in week 5, in our live call, I'm doing live hot seat coaching. So you'll have an opportunity to pre-submit questions or areas of coaching that you personally want. And then when we're together on the live call, I'll bring that stuff up that was pre-submitted and coach you through it live. And I promise you, most of us are dealing with very similar things in our day-to-day life. So I can't tell you how often someone has asked a question and then everyone else in the room is like, oh my goodness, that was so helpful. I had that same question, or I didn't even realize that I was struggling with that too. And I can't wait to put this coaching into practice because it's going to make a big difference for me. And then the last half of that call in week 5 is going to be a somatic breathwork session. So I'm going to guide you through breathwork, and we're going to go through this whole thing, guided inhales, exhales, different cadence of breath, and you're going to experience the power of breath. And then in week 6, we're really going to talk about starting to optimize your habits and your routines for nervous system health. In the live call for this week, we're bringing in a guest expert to talk to us about hormones, specifically also with our thyroid. So I'm really excited to learn about this because a lot of us who've experienced burnout or are in the throes of burnout, there's an impact on our hormone health, right? And our thyroid function. So I want you guys to learn more about that and then have tools to increase the health of your hormones and thyroid. And then in week 7, we start to switch into mindset stuff. So we're going to spend a lot of time here talking about your behaviors and your beliefs, because ultimately those are driving how you're showing up every day. And ultimately how you're showing up every day is what has contributed to your burnout, right? So in week 7 in our live call, we're going to have a workshop on, I call it Surviving to Thriving, but it's really going to be a workshop about how you currently manage and cope with stress. So I have all of these different coping mechanisms listed out, and you're going to kind of go through them and identify the ones that you tend to kind of latch onto when you're feeling stressed out. We all have them. And then we're going to really explore, and I'm going to teach you ways to shift those coping mechanisms so that they serve you better, right? We're going to look at why we do them. We're going to look at how they serve us well. We're going to look at how they don't serve us well. And then we're going to brainstorm ideas and ways that we can set parameters and boundaries around those coping mechanisms so that they really serve us well. And then in week 8, the last week of phase 2, month 2, all about emotions. This is probably my favorite module because most of us have no flipping clue what to do with our big emotions. Like when we are angry, when we are ragey, when we are frustrated and annoyed and just so irritable, we feel so much guilt and shame around that. We don't know what to do with it, right? So I want to teach you guys because it's so powerful. And then, like we were saying, you can turn around, you can teach this stuff to your kids, which is so awesome. And then in our live call for week 8, I'm doing a workshop around our inner critic. So many of us, especially as high achievers, we have a strong inner critic. We have a part of us that is really demanding and want things to be, dare I say, perfect, right? But a lot of times that doesn't serve us well. So I want to explore that. I want to teach you guys what to do with your inner critic and how to really harness the power and befriend your inner critic in a way that's going to serve you really well. And then we jump into phase 3. This is the last month of coaching. And what we do now is that you've learned how to regulate your nervous system. You've learned how to increase your capacity. Now we protect all that goodness, right? We protect your joy. We protect your highest self. How do we do that? We start with talking about boundaries. So I have a training on boundaries. I think it's really different than how most people teach boundaries. I've gotten great feedback about it, so I'm excited to teach it to you guys. And then we have a guest expert coming in for a live call here to teach about time management and healthy productivity that actually works for busy moms. So I'm super excited about that. Again, just that I think is going to give you guys so many practical tools, stuff you can start to implement to really manage your time and energy well. And that's going to be awesome. And then we take a look at your mindset, and we have a couple modules about mindset because that's important too. And in the live calls for these weeks, we look at reframing our paradigm. So we all have ways in which we see the world that we're not even aware of, right? We all wear these kind of rose-colored glasses, if you will, that are tainting how we see things based on our own life experience and our expectations and all these different things. So we take a look at those and then talk about how they're serving us, how they're influencing how we act and think, and how we can just bring more intention to them. And then we also have a workshop about our limiting beliefs, because we all have limiting beliefs that are impacting our workspaces and our parenting and our marriage and, our own confidence, and thus how our nervous system feels safe in different spaces. So that's going to be really powerful too. I'm really excited about that. And then we have a celebration party at the end of this all, where you guys are going to reflect. I'm going to give you these prompts and you're going to reflect and you're going to share your wins. Every week we're doing tracking of how we're feeling. So you're going to share your progress. You're going to share all the growth that you've experienced and the transformation. We're going to put together a sustainability plan so you guys leave this and it doesn't stay here, right? Like I want you to carry this on forever. I want this to be sustainable for you. I want you to continue to feel really flipping good. And then you're going to write yourself some permission slips, right? Giving yourself permission to feel good, permission to take care of yourself, permission to prioritize yourself and prioritize your health, permission to have fun, right? And be lighthearted and not to get everything right all the time. And I think it's going to be really beautiful. So that is the general structure. If you're still here with me, thank you for listening. And honestly, the best part of Burnout Recovery Blueprint is that you guys don't have to do it alone, right? There's so much support. There's live support with me. There's all these calls you've just heard about. There's hot seat coaching. And then there's a community of women who get it, right? Who are in it with you, all of us in it side by side. So if you're looking for quick wins, if you're looking for a total reset, everything you need is in this program. The tools and the structure that you need to heal and feel like yourself again. So registration closes tonight at midnight, January 14th. If you're listening live, I would so love to see you inside. The registration link is in the show notes. Go ahead, give it a click, check it out. If you're ready to regulate your nervous system, if you're ready to finally break free from overwhelm, this is me inviting you to join us in this cohort. I can't think of a better way to start 2025. Again, if you have any questions, just shoot me an email, hello@michellegrosser.com. I just love you guys so much. I'll talk to you soon.
If you love Mommy's Podcast, leave a review.
If you enjoyed this episode, it would be so awesome if you could take a moment to subscribe and rate the podcast. And if you have just a few more seconds to leave a quick review, they really help to get this podcast out to other moms like you. I read every last review, and trust me, when it's late at night or early in the morning before my kids get up and I'm working on bringing you all of this content, your reviews are what keep me going. Leaving a review is truly the best way you can thank me. And of course, DM me on Instagram. I love to hear from you. Thanks for listening to another episode. Head over to the show notes for this episode and all past episodes at michellegrosser.com, where you'll find free resources and more ways to connect with me. If you love the show, share it with a friend. Thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you next time.